Welcome to my podcast, Lips of Steel. It's unscripted, unfiltered, and unstoppable. And today I have two special guests, and we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking about witches, widows, and what the F. I'll just say it that way, what the F. So we're going to talk about the club that nobody wants to belong to. So I have a couple friends here. I have Bo and Roxanne. And the reason I have them here is we all belong to that club that nobody wants to, and that's the Widows Club. So Bo and Roxanne, I guess we'll start off. First of all, I did take note of the fact that we happen to have a brunette, a redhead, and a blonde. So that's kind of where the witches come in, the witches of Eastwick, the witches of podcast land for today. But we're all also kind of some badass, amazing women who
of course
have manifested some pretty incredible things since our losses. So let's just kind of start off with how long you've been a widow, how old were you, and if you had, with kids, how old the kids were. Just to kind of start off. So let's start with you, Roxanne.
I was 51, and I've been a widow for just a little over 6 years, and the kids were about a month from turning 14, and I have twin boys.
Okay.
So that hit pretty hard since boys need their dad.
Yeah, they do. And Bo?
It'll be 11 years in October, and all my kids were already grown and out of the house, so it was really a shock for the sudden, really empty nest.
Yes. Yeah. You had like sudden alone.
Sudden alone, no kids, nothing to relate to, talk to, etc.
Yeah. And mine, I was 46, and I do have 7 kids. 2 of them were my husband's kids, and the youngest one was 6 years old. So that is my story, and that was, as of Saturday, was 13 years. So I'm the longest at this point with 13, 11, and then 6. So people are curious. And, I'm sure people are, okay, you're a widow, so what? What happened? We're just a quick, this is how I became a widow.
So my husband had pulmonary embolisms, bilateral.
Okay.
And it happened in the middle of the night. In a matter of 14 minutes, he was gone. When I woke up and found him in what they so-called the death gurgle, which I now know that it's the death gurgle. I just thought it was snoring. So, because he was a real bad snorer.
Yeah.
And the eyes were rolled back into the head, and I called 911 and had to go over and wake up one of my kids and say, let the fire department in, no questions, just do it.
Yeah.
And then the other one, who's high-functioning autistic, make sure you entertain your brother, keep him in his room. And he was gone. They worked on him for 30 minutes after he passed away in his bed as he was telling me, I'm going, and it's getting dark. And then they took him out to the hallway and worked on him for 30 minutes. And then they left, and he sat in the hallway on the floor for 2 hours waiting for the coroner to come. You had to walk past him to go to the bedrooms or anything. So that's how it started.
Yeah. Ouch.
Right? Right.
It's like, as we pass this along, and guys, as you're listening to this podcast, just stay with us on this. I know this is some, dark
Heavy
stuff. It's heavy stuff. But, as life hands you all the stuff, we also sometimes deal with it with a little humor. So bear with us on this. And we're not trying to one-up each other here.
No.
We're just telling our stories.
Well, and telling it, without breaking down.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Because, I still get the lump in the throat and have to take a deep breath. So I'm okay telling my story and somebody else saying their story so we can give myself a breath to catch.
Yeah. Yeah. Because sometimes retelling the story is
You're back
know,
there,
you're
right
back
back
there.
there.
Yeah.
Right back there,
100%.
right?
So, okay, Bo,
So
tell me about Dave.
it was.
Of course, I
we
already
had-
know, but
yes,
tell them about Dave.
tell you again.
Yes.
I haven't heard.
Yes. There you go.
We had gone to bed for the evening, so it wasn't the middle of the night, but it was evening. And all of a sudden, he started stumbling around and making incoherent sentences. And so I started asking him some questions because I have some training on emergency response.
Yeah.
And I asked him the 3 questions to determine if he was having a stroke. Because I had just experienced that with my father just a few years prior. And the last question I asked him was, "Can you smile for me?" And he could not.
Oh.
And so I immediately said, "I'm calling 911." And he told me, "No, don't. I'm fine."
What is up with these men?
Yeah, mine said
Yeah.
the same
Don't
thing.
don't call the.
Don't.
Don't
I'll
call
be
911.
fine. It's just a flesh wound.
Yes, it'll cost money. Don't call.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what it's about.
Yeah.
It really is.
And it was for him, for sure.
Yeah.
And so I said, "Oh, really? Okay," while I grabbed the phone and started dialing. So they were a fairly quick in response. Now, our house was always locked up like Fort Knox, so
Right.
I had to leave him for a moment. He was on the bed and run to the door to unlock it so they could come in. And in that time that I did that, he rolled off the bed.
Oh.
And when the ambulance got there, they had a hard time getting him out of the room because he was a 6'4" man.
Right.
He was not small. So they had some struggle and they got him out, and I noticed I actually had a neighbor sitting across the street with his son watching the whole thing like it was a show.
Oh, my word.
Like,
Which-
did you offer them some popcorn?
I wanted to say a few things, maybe not popcorn.
But popcorn
Why
wasn't
is
one
it
of
the
those.
neighbors all come out and they're like, they just watch as, as the drama
I
unfolds?
didn't understand
My
that.
neighbor actually came over the next day and he said, "Are you okay? Do you need anything?"
Well, that's nice.
What I would expect and hope for.
Right.
That was not this. So we did go to the hospital, and he had had a brain aneurysm, and it was a fairly good-sized one. And we had had a talk many times about what do you want if something happens.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't want anything, nothing. And I had agreed to that, but they told me, "Do you want us to do surgery? We can try. It's pretty bad, but there's a chance." I said, "Okay, he's going to be really ticked off at me, but you got
I'm
one
gonna go
shot."
for it.
Yeah.
One, because my dad had 3 surgeries, and it never did anything, and I was not going to go through that. So I said, "You got one shot." And he was not happy when I told him what was going to happen. But they did go ahead with the procedure, and when he found out that that's what they were doing, he tried to leave then.
I'm sorry, he did what?
He tried to leave then. He tried to start
Oh.
slipping away. So they immediately
Leave,
started.
not get up and leave.
Yeah, no. He would have if he could have.
I'm like, what?
They started CPR, and at that point, I had signed for them to do the surgery.
Yeah.
They did not tell me was, once I had signed that, they had to do CPR if he started to go into cardiac arrest or anything else. And I knew he didn't want that.
Yeah.
And so I started screaming at them, "That's not what he wants, stop." They made me leave the room. They resuscitated him, and then they did the surgery, and he did not come back. It was 3 days,
So he was in a coma for 3 days.
basically. I mean, he could squeeze my hand a little, and that was it.
Brain dead.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, my turn.
Yes.
So, my husband had had health issues for a while, but it was the day of my twins' 22nd birthday, and we were supposed to go out to dinner, but instead they wanted to barbecue at home. Like, this is okay, fine. We were going to take you to a great dinner, but sure, we'll barbecue at home. Everyone come over. And I had my
A little
youngest.
cheaper with 7 kids.
Yeah. Well, we had 6 of the kids that were local. One of them was down in San Diego. And so my daughter had a dance dress rehearsal for her big performance. And I had taken her to that. And I was driving home and we're talking on the phone about how wonderful it is that, like, look at this great family we've created. We called it the wonderful world of we, the WWW. And we created this great family that they loved being together so much that they rather be at our home with steak that he barbecued so that they could celebrate their birthday that way. And we're just like, we're talking about his son Steven, who had just graduated college a couple weeks before, and how proud we were of him. And we're talking about Tim, my son, who had come over that morning in his EMT uniform, and how proud we were of him, and
That's so awesome.
about our kids and we're just having all this, like, isn't this great? Like, what a great family we have. And then we talk about our daughter. We called her our Punky Doodle, little 6-year-old, and how beautiful she was and how amazing she was with dance and how much we loved her and like all these great things. And we're going to have
about
dinner.
savoring the moments.
And it was just like laughing and happy. And then he goes, "Oh, shit." And that was it.
That's the last thing he said.
That was the last. That was the last thing you said. And if you knew my husband, you'd be like, that sounds about right.
I'm like, that's the last thing he said.
That was the last thing he says. Oh, shit. And he had had a heart attack in the backyard. My boys, I'd gotten a hold of them. They came over. I had a cop, an EMT, and a former Marine, all very highly trained. They were there within minutes, did CPR. I got home. I'm a nurse, trained, did CPR. Got him to the hospital, worked on him for about 45 minutes, and I think the hardest thing was I had to tell them to stop. I was at the hospital I worked at in the ER, and they had, the doctor first said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "Well, you do whatever you need to do to know that you followed your protocol and all of that. Let's start
Right.
there." And we're waiting for all the kids to get there to the hospital and stuff like that, and so he did, and I, of course, I know how to run a code. Watched, I saw them. They did all the meds. They did all the things, and CPR the whole time. And finally, I talked to my stepson, and I said, "Okay, it's not looking so good. Don't think this is going to work out. And are you okay if I tell them to stop?" Because he was the only. My husband has 2 boys.
Right.
From previous marriage, and he was the only one that was there. The other one was still coming up from San Diego, and certainly wasn't going to make this decision without checking in with them. And I said, "Are you
That's
okay?"
That right there alone is just the clear thinking that you just on your feet like that, asking him and honoring him being his dad.
Yeah, it was. I think being in the hospital, I was like super clinical mode,
Right.
and it
You
was
took
like
your wife hat off.
my wife hat was totally off until, till the end. And he said he was okay with it. Didn't say it. He just nodded. And finally, I don't know how I knew the time was right, but I finally just said, "Stop. Just stop, 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 stop." And the room got quiet, and the monitor beeped. That, you see it in the movies, that beep. And it was the long beep. And I'm like, "Turn the effing monitor off." And then, I kind of heard in the background the doctor, 7:41. Time of death, 7:41. So, yeah, so that's how we got here. Sucks, man.
Completely.
Yeah.
So, with all that, okay,
Heavy
now
mess. That's a lot.
shit.
Clear the room.
Okay,
Yeah.
everybody, brush it off, just shake it off.
Somebody needs to get to sage.
All right, so I don't know about you guys, but I went to a grief group. So I did attend. They wouldn't let me go right away, but it was like 2 months
Who's they?
later. The group, the organization was called Our House. And they held grief groups for all ages of people. And my group, it was a special one. It was called the Young Widows Grief Group, because I was considered a young widow. I was 46
Yeah.
years old. And so they said they wanted people to have a little time, a little space before you come into this group. It's like, I guess, like grieve before you heal, which makes sense, right?
Right.
I think it makes sense. So we get together in this group, and I don't know, there's like 8 of us that came in at different times. Our spouses had passed away within a couple months of each other. And it was very interesting to me that every single one of us had a story about weird shit that happened after they died.
Oh boy, I hear you there.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I had
like,
2
really?
cars break down. I had water pipes break in my house. I had the filter pump for my pool exploded, and my pool guy's like, I've never seen this happen ever. And it was almost like, you know, my husband did die. Well, he died in the hospital, but it was almost like he was like this with his hands on the, like, I'm not leaving. It was like he had so much energy left here in this world.
On you.
Well, for sure, connected to me. But it was like he was like scratching, you know, like I'm not leaving peacefully, and you all are going to know that I'm still hanging around here. So, anyways,
Yeah, but didn't you want to just curse them because they're leaving you and all of this shit is happening?
right?
And you're like, why? Why?
It's like, where are you to help? Like, you can take the car to the mechanic, or can you please call the plumber? Like, no, it was all on me.
No.
So, did either of you guys have something like that?
Oh my word. The water heater went out, which had already been, you know, replaced, I think, probably 5 or 6 years before, so it shouldn't have. So the water heater went out within the first month. Leak behind the fridge in the ball valve joint that's not supposed to leak. Not supposed to leak. Ruined the floor, so I had to replace the floor throughout the house. The pool pump went out. The pool cover broke. I had to get a new one. The gate controller for the gate, I had to buy a brand new gate controller. The service truck had to go in. Well, that's a whole nother story. I had to get my contractor's license and run a service company. Yeah. Generally a contractor's license so I could be the main breadwinner, which was not the hat that I wanted to wear. Not being a body worker. I'm like, now I have to be a mechanic and not a mechanic for the body?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how this is going to roll, but okay, I'll go with it.
Yeah.
And a mom and a dad. And then we had 2 acres.
Yeah.
So lots of
Lots of
upkeep on
pivot.
the yard.
You had to pivot everything that you were.
Yeah,
Your role changed completely.
completely.
Yep.
Hugely masculine.
Yeah. And how about you? I mean, like,
Well, mine was a little different. I didn't have all this stuff break down or any of that. Well, those who knew Dave, he was very much a perfectionist and took care of everything very well.
Okay.
But I had a lot of woo-woo stuff happen.
okay.
Do
Which
tell.
here's
The
the little
woo-woos.
witchy comes in.
Okay.
Like I said, we've had a lot of conversations about what happens when you go over, what do you want, what, you know.
Okay.
And I very much believe there's another side and that we
Right.
can communicate. That's,
That's
100%.
good conversation.
that has always been my belief. That's
Right.
just who I've
Being an
always
energy
been.
worker, yes.
Yeah.
And the first thing that happened was when he died in the hospital, I turned back and looked at the clock, and it was at 8:03
PM?
p.m. And I just took note, and I went home after, you know, all the stuff was done, and the grandfather clock that we have stopped at 8:03.
Of course it did.
It was
Whoa.
wound just the day before, or a couple days before when he had
That's
passed.
a
So within a
message.
couple of days, yes. So that was him. And when he left, when he was in the hospital, as I say leave, I mean he died, went to the other side. I literally felt him surround me and hug me and let me know he was so happy to be released.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
So
pretty
now
awesome.
that got me.
Wow.
Because I was happy for him, but not for me.
Of course.
Oh, no, you had a road ahead of you.
So it was the woo. But that was definitely some of the woo.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just the fact that there's, I mean, whatever people believe about, life, death, and all that stuff. I mean, all three of us are pretty aligned, I think, in our thinking, and
Right.
that there's, energy can't be created and it can't be destroyed. It's just there. It just continues on in another space, and all of these phenomenon that take place, whether it be, I personally had an experience after where I had gone out to the backyard the next day, and because the paramedics had worked on him in the backyard,
Right.
and he had these reading glasses, and if you knew my husband, he always wore them like right here on the edge of his
So he
nose.
could see and still read.
Exactly.
Yes.
He drove me nuts. It's like, push those things up, But
Then he won't be able to see to even walk.
right? Exactly. So anyways, they were still on the ground outside. And so I went and picked him up. And I held him in my hand, and I heard his voice as clear as if he were standing next to me talking. Oh, shit. So this
No.
is the day I'm going to die. So this is how it's going to happen. Please don't let Alexandra see me like this. Wow. She was 6 years old at the time.
Right.
Did she see him?
No, no. She didn't want to either. My son took her upstairs, and because
That
he
was good.
came out when I drove up with her, and he came out and took her upstairs and kept her occupied, so she didn't
Very
have to be a
good
part of
thinking
that.
on
Thank
their
God.
part.
And so I'm holding, and he's like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was this sick." I'm hearing these words, and I'm like, I threw the glasses down. I'm like, "What the hell was that?" And it was just the craziest. And then I went, I'm like, okay, breathe. I picked the glasses up, and I just sat with it. And it was as if he was apologizing. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was this sick." It was, so this is how I'm going to die. And it was like, gave me a little bit of peace, though. Mm-hmm. Because, you always wonder, what are they thinking when something like that happens?
Right.
And, for that.
And you got to hear it.
And I got to hear it. And it was like, okay, he was aware, he knew that this was it, that he was dying. And with whatever wherewithal he had at the time, as he was leaving, and his body was, that was a crazy, crazy, crazy thing.
Crazy thing that happened to me was I actually went in the next day to smell his pillow or smell the clothes he had on. No smell.
Oh.
His smell was completely gone.
Oh,
Completely. I think it was a protection mode for my body.
yeah.
But I could not smell any. Even the clothes. He literally took the clothes off, dumped them on the floor next to his bed. Because he was real neat and tidy, and crawled in bed. But I had no smell, no sweat from that day, nothing at all. Went over, stuck my head in his closet, just trying to smell him. Nothing, no smell whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
nothing.
like he left.
He left. And he only came back, I think he's come back twice, but the one that was most present to me was we were staying down at a friend's beach house just to get out of the house about 3 weeks after he passed. And in Ojai, where I lived at that time, you had to make sure by June 1st, all the weeds were cleaned up in the yard. And
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Mind
We
you,
have
I
that
said
in
I
Agoura.
had 2 acres. So he comes to me in a dream and says, "Who's taking care of the weeds?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is what you're saying to me? This, not, hey, I miss you. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I cut out on you, but who's taking care of the weeds?" I'm like, "The Lions Club," because I was a Lions Club member, so I was hugely supported in Ojai Lions Club. But it's like, who's taking care of the weeds? Really? You've got to be kidding me. And as soon as I answered him in my dream and said the Lions Club, he's like, "Okay, bye." He didn't even say bye. He just said okay and left.
He was just done.
He was done.
Check. We've handled that one. Thank you very
Right.
much. Moving
I'm
on.
like, Lord have mercy on me. 34 years with this man, and who's taking care of the weeds?
Well, the weeds are important.
Right?
Okay, a little bit important, maybe.
The one thing that I have to say is when he did pass in the room, one of the biggest things that happened that I didn't find out until a couple days later is I was in so much shock while he was dying there and telling me he was dying in front of me, saying, I'm sorry, I love you, I love you, I love you, and I'm going. It's getting dark. And do a little sidebar here. When he got his ear pierced, he was a two-stepper in the military, and when he got any kind of puncture, he'd pull it out and then he'd pass out. 2 steps and he'd pass out. So needless to say, when he got his ear pierced, he was like, baby, it's getting dark in here. So he says the same thing as he's dying. And so I'm like playing this over in my head, and I'm like, really? I'm like, it's getting dark in here. You're dying, and you're saying the same thing you said when you got your ear pierced.
It was probably the closest he could come to
Right?
what he was seeing.
Because he was passing out, he was leaving, getting dark, things were narrowing in, and he was going to do that 2-step and pass out, except for he was laying on the bed.
Yeah.
But one of the firefighters, or the EMTs, that spoke to him, I guess I didn't hear it, but he told me, and I didn't hear it, but they heard it, tell my boys I love them. And I might get a little emotional here. A friend of mine had a good friend, and she was the mom of the firefighter, the EMT. And she, for some odd reason, she went and saw her that next day after she saw me, because she came the morning of him passing away. And she said, she told me about 3 days later, because she gave me a little time, but she said, I was talking to so-and-so, and they told me that their son had a really emotional call. And I said, well, I'm pretty emotional too, because my friend just lost her husband. And she goes, I think it was the same one. She said, he heard him say, the last words he said was, tell my sons I love them.
Aww.
So she was able to pass that on to me. So I shared that with the boys, which was a big thing.
Absolutely.
Because I was like, oh my God, he didn't say anything about the boys, but he did.
He did.
Those were his last words.
So much better than oh shit.
Thank you, I needed that. You got to have that humor, because it pulls you out of it.
Yeah.
Because you go back into that moment and you're just like, shit, it's happening again. Oh shit, it's happening.
Oh shit, it's happening again. Oops, I did it again.
Right?
So did either one of you guys get the call from One Legacy?
No,
That's
The organ donation?
Yes.
no,
No, you didn't.
no.
Oh.
I think on
Was he not an organ donor then?
his driver's license had the stamp on it, and it already had organ donor.
Okay.
But
They didn't call you?
they didn't call me, and I don't think they took anything because he was cremated.
Okay.
Well,
And I would think that,
so was Dave. He
I
was
think that
cremated.
they would have said something.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So,
is.
no.
So I got the call at 1:30 in the morning. So he died at 7:41. By the time I got home from the hospital.
You got the call
that night, because they're a little time
They
sensitive.
gotta move.
You know. I'm sorry. A little practical magic. It's not like he's gonna stay fresh. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Not sorry. No. And they ask all these questions, and they they ask the normal questions. Did he have this? Did he have that? What medications was he taking? Does he have sex with animals? Does he have?
No, they did not.
They do. They
No.
yes.
They didn't ask me.
I don't know. I'm like, what?
Does he look like somebody that's having sex with animals?
I mean, has he ever had homosexual sex? Has he had
Oh,
sex
my
with multiple
word.
partners over the last? I'm like, this was my husband. Are you kidding me with this?
And if he did, I didn't know it.
Right?
And yeah, if he did, he didn't tell me. But it was like the most intrusive questions, and they were asking questions for like an hour. I'm like, you guys realize you called me at 1:30 in the morning? I know, I'm sorry, but we need to blah, 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 blah,
An
blah.
hour.
An hour of, I'm trying to, I've got my 6-year-old laying in bed next
You're
to me.
brain dead.
And I'm just absolutely like,
Numb.
do you understand? I think they
Widow
probably
brain
think,
is already
Widow
going.
brain.
yeah, they think you've been through a trauma, so we'll just stay in the trauma mode with you and ask you all these crazy questions. And Yeah.
That's
Maybe
just
I got
crazy.
called from a different company because I didn't get those.
You didn't get those questions?
But he was also in the hospital for several days, and
Oh,
they knew
yeah.
he was declining, so I'm sure some of that got handled.
Maybe, yeah.
And they did ask about donation, and I did, yes, he is an organ donor. It was on his license, but I knew that he had MRSA. And so I said, I
Oh,
don't know
that's why.
what you're going to be able to take.
Yeah,
I said,
MRSA,
you may not take anything, but they ended
I
up
wonder
taking
why
his
they
eyes.
didn't call me
they
then.
did get his eyes, okay.
Yes, that is strange.
That is.
Maybe it's because of how he died.
Or there could have been somebody else on his contact for that. He may have put somebody else as a contact, maybe. I have no idea.
No, I was pretty
I
much.
just-
I was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got all the fun experiences.
I do have to say that I find dimes. I had to actually look it up.
Uh-huh.
I find dimes everywhere. Like, and I was like, why am I finding dimes? I'm like,
Oh.
doing stuff, moving things, and I kept a pretty clean house, but I mean, I would find dimes in the driveway. I would find.
No.
So I Googled it, and it says that after somebody passes, sometimes you can find coins like a dime or a
Yeah.
nickel or a penny. And I was like, so there's times I pick up the dime and I'm like, oh, nice. And then there's other times I look up and I'm flipping him off. I'm like, I got to do this and you're going to drop a dime on me?
So, I mean, that brings up, like, people talk about how their loved ones come back to them. And what, is something that frequently, usually it's something winged is what I've heard. Is there a creature or a something that you're like, oh yeah, that's Dave?
For me, I think partly because we were so open, it's not necessarily one thing. It's just I know it's him. It's like I can hear him whispering. Oh, that's you. Okay, I got it. He has come through a medium before,
Oh.
but he kind of disappointed me a little the way he did it. He was just messing around with it. It was like, you already talked to me. Why are you even at a medium show? So he was like,
So you
yeah.
weren't like, hey, I'm super excited you're here. You're like, what are you doing here?
He was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm so good looking. Tell her that. Because he was a very handsome man. He looked a lot like Tom Selleck. Actually,
Okay.
he was mistaken for Tom Selleck a few times in Hawaii.
That's not a bad thing.
No, but he would joke like that. He was not egotistical or arrogant by any stretch, but I knew it was him because he was saying that. And she was kind of like looking at me like, what kind of jerk were you married to? It's like,
She didn't know him,
she didn't know him.
but
at
you knew
all.
where it was coming from.
I knew what he was doing. He was saying, why are you here? We already talk. Yeah.
Which is
Why are you
way
wasting your
cool.
money?
Yeah.
Because I was looking for somebody else.
Well, or sometimes you just want a little clearer communication and
Right.
not what you think you
Well,
may be making up in your head.
Well, I always say there's
or-
a fine line between psychic and psycho.
Right. And some days it's one or the other or both.
Some days, yeah. They reside in the same.
What about you?
So there was two things. One, we had a lot of hummingbirds. And, hummingbirds are very sweet. They do their thing.
They
There
don't
was
say,
this-
oh shit.
They didn't say, oh shit. But there was this one hummingbird that started showing up. And it was like this.
Like its motor was broken.
It was like this most obnoxious sounding hummingbird. and it would hover right by the kitchen window.
With that obnoxious
with
sound.
that obnoxious sound. And I'm like, you are not like the other hummingbirds. And then I would get in my car and it would come around and it would sit there and like look at me in the windshield. And then it would go to the other side. And I'm like, oh, jeez. Because, my husband was not a quiet man. I mean, he was from New York, okay?
Oh.
I'm from New York. And he was loud and and it was like this hummingbird, totally. And then there was this gigantic dragonfly that would hang out at the pool. And it also was particularly big and had a loud buzz to it. I'm 100% sure. 100% sure. But the hummingbird would go from my, right at the door and look at me. And I'm like, what? And then it would go around to the windshield and then it would come back over. And then it would always hang out and it would literally
I mean,
tap
that's
on the window.
obvious.
Yeah. My husband was not subtle.
I'm seeing that.
He was not. I can say that. I
Yes,
knew him.
You knew him. Yes, you did. Definitely not subtle.
See, and mine was like, he was an introvert, which is exactly the opposite of me as an extrovert. So it was hard for him to be with me. But he left. He was like, I'm out of here.
He took his everything and his smell.
Yeah, and he was like, I'm out of here.
Wow.
Clearing
Peace
the
out,
path
babe.
for you.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So did anything, like, how did other people, like, what was your experience of other people as you were, like, trying to sort through all this grief stuff? Anything, like, wacky or weird or crazy, like, how people reacted to the death?
Go ahead.
Well, I got both sides of the spectrum. One was the neighbor that I told you earlier was sitting outside with his son watching my husband be taken away in an ambulance.
That needed popcorn.
Yeah.
The same day I got home from the hospital after he had passed, had knocked on the door and started talking to me about my lawn care.
Your weeds.
My grass. And as I told you, my husband was very much a perfectionist, and the lawn was always beautiful and well
Okay.
taken care of. And he said, yeah, well, I had conversations with him, and he always said if something happened to him that I should come take care of your lawn. And I'm just kind of just like,
Dumbfounded.
well, yeah, I just got home. And my mom happened to be there with me and heard and came up and said, I do not think now is the appropriate time. Please go away.
There we go, Mom.
And so he did. He did come back like the next day and was very insistent about the lawn. And I said, you know what? You can take care of it till I find someone, which was like
Maybe
a
Dave
couple
was
of days.
communicating to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Get
don't
on
think
it.
so, because this guy was just very much not somebody we wanted in our sphere.
Oh, I was going to say, was his love language a lawnmower?
Don't know. It was just like, okay, and I quickly found somebody else. But on the other side of that, I had friends, like we've talked about before, most people don't know what to say or
Correct.
do. They want to do something.
Yeah.
I had some very dear friends call me, and if they had just said, what can we do for you, I wouldn't be able to answer
He'd
them.
be like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But they said, I know you haven't eaten, because they knew me. What will you eat?
but did anything sound appetizing?
I basically threw it back up to Dave and said, what will I eat? And he came back and he said, chicken and Crown Royal. Because Crown Royal was his favorite all-time drink.
But you didn't drink it.
I very rarely drink it.
Oh, that's funny.
And now, of course, now I love it.
I was saying, now you like your bourbon.
Now I do.
We
I'm
like-
a bourbon girl now. But so they went to the store and bought one of those pre-cooked chicken and a thing of Crown Royal and brought it to me. And that was the best thing they could have ever done
right?
for me.
Well,
Yeah.
because people need to know what they can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
They want to help, but they don't know how to help.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had probably like 20 or 30 people the day. I mean, he died at 3 o'clock in the morning. By I think like 7:30, between 7:30 and 9, I had people rolling in and out of there immediately because of the Lions Club. My son was at a barn, so all the barn people came over. All this food started rolling in, and I was like,
The food.
Right.
I'm like, what am I gonna do? Clean
So
the
much
garage
food.
fridge out, put it in there. I mean, just so much food. But I was surrounded by tons of people, and everyone was like my closest. Like I called one of my best friends. She drove from Santa Paula in the middle of the night. I called her and I said, Todd's dead. She's like, what do you want me to do? And I said, if you can get in your car and you can drive safely here, then you can come. I want you here.
Yeah.
And she actually moved in, and we slept on the couch for 3 weeks. I had a big L-shaped couch, and we both slept on the couch for 3 weeks because I couldn't sleep in my own bed.
Right.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Right.
No, I had to strip the bedding, cleaned it, donated it, and went to like, I don't know, Ross or Kohl's or something, and just picked up some bedding just to change it out. So
Yeah.
the whole look was different in my room so that I could actually go back in it.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. That's totally understandable.
But I was surrounded by a ton of people. They helped put on the memorial for him, the celebration of life, and donations completely, the whole kit and caboodle, all the food,
Wonderful.
the
Yeah.
facility, the flowers, tablecloths, everything, completely, drinks, everything was donated
Wow.
Wow.
by all the people in Ojai and Oakview and the Little Lions Club.
What was the most helpful thing after your husband died? Like let's say
notebook.
immediately
The
after.
notebook.
Yeah, we talked about that.
The notebook and a friend stepping up, another dear friend,
Yeah.
stepping up and saying, okay, you got to do this, 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 and focusing you in on something.
Yeah.
You know, because you're so brain dead and there's so much going on.
Yep.
And it was
no
like,
memory. You have
No,
no
you have
ability
no
to
memory.
like even like you talk about executive functioning. Like executive functioning, you might be able to get up, brush your teeth, maybe if you remember,
get dressed.
maybe get dressed. I mean, if you have people in the house, you're typically throwing something on because you don't want to
I
walk
think
around.
I lived in leggings and this sweatshirt that I just pulled over and just, I don't even know if I brushed my hair.
Widow's brain.
Widow
yeah.
brain. Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Widow's
so
fog.
Yes.
The widow, yeah. So the notebook and somebody helping you keep track of things.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think I actually
fantastic.
have the notebook and I put it in his file with his death certificates and his obituaries and the notebook because it actually has his obituary written in it because my friend Rachel, she wrote it in there. She
Yeah.
wrote the notes, okay, you got to contact the bank, you got to do this, you got to do that, how many death certificates you need and
Right.
the originals because at that time everybody wanted originals.
Yeah. I had a friend that came in, she had lost her dad, and so she had just been through all this stuff with her dad.
Right.
And I just remember the next morning, I was sitting in the kitchen, talking with the kids, because at that point, all the kids were there. And I see her walk up. I didn't call her. I didn't even call her to tell her he had died. And I see her walk up and she has this black, portfolio style notebook in her arm. She just walks up and, of course, so sorry, does that whole thing. And then she sits down and she just opens it up and she says, okay, here's what we're going to do. What's on your schedule today? Let's write it down. Who's got to be here? Who's got to be there? Here's all the decisions that have to be made. Because we were going to the mortuary that day and, starting to plan Jewish funerals are different. They happen a little bit quicker. And it was a godsend. It was like she didn't even ask. She didn't say, can I do this for you? She just showed up.
You don't want somebody to say, can I do this for you?
Yeah.
You just want them to do it.
Well, and you also don't want somebody to say, well, what do you need? Because you have no freaking idea what
Well,
you
that
need.
was the other thing. You mentioned phone calls.
Yeah.
I mean, when it happens, you don't even remember who you should call.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think it was probably a couple hours, maybe 3 or 4 hours after he passed, I looked at Cecilia and I said, oh shit, you got to call his sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, you got to call our best friend, Matt. You got to call Christy. And it's like, oh my God, you try to who am I forgetting?
So my husband died at 7:41 at night. Well, his family's all on the East Coast. And, this was 13 years ago. Facebook was a thing.
Oh no.
And my thing was, we got to call his mom. Well, she wasn't on social media, but still, we got to call his mom. She needs to know. But I'm not calling her. I had to call my sister-in-law
Right.
and tell her.
That's what I had somebody do, call his sister to tell
Yeah.
his mom.
And thankfully, at the time, my mother-in-law had been moved up near Albany because she was in the city before in Queens. And she's like, well, should I go talk? I said, yes, you need to go tell your mom. Don't wait until the morning.
You need to.
She needed to go
Yes,
physically
you
go
need
tell
to
her.
go tell her in person.
And, and then just making sure that all of the key people were informed before somebody started posting condolences on
Right.
Facebook.
Oh
And
my
the last
God,
thing you
yes.
want, I mean, this is I think this is a key thing, for anybody that has been notified of a death, like this, a sudden death especially, is don't post anything on someone's Facebook page. Oh, dude, we're going to miss you. So sorry. I can't believe you're gone. I'm just shocked to hear the news. Like, please give people time before you do. I mean, it's a great thing that people want to express their condolences, their grief, their whatever it is, but give it a minute because it takes time to actually get a hold of people. And
It does.
I was petrified that somebody was going to find out through a Facebook post.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Speaking of Facebook, that is actually what, I think it was in the first couple days, somebody said, everybody's asking about a meal train, and I'm like, I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah, but you got to feed your kids.
Oh, I have kids. Oh, they need to eat.
Yep.
And, I'm not going to make anything for them.
Right?
Yeah.
And so Facebook, best thing in the world, put the meal train out there.
Yeah.
And they said, how long do you want it out for? And I'm like, I don't know. Put it a month.
Yeah.
Filled up immediately.
Yep. That's well, and I think the difference between 13 years ago, 11 years ago, and 6 years. I mean, that little span. I mean, that is
A lot of
big
different things that
difference.
have happened.
Lot.
Yeah. And all the GoFundMe stuff, and
Did not do that.
yeah.
Me either.
Yeah.
If they wanted to give a card or any kind of money, which I didn't ask for anything, we had a friend who at the Celebration of Life had a box, and she oversaw the box and the cards.
Yeah.
So that nobody, anything came up missing. But she stayed there, and people put, because she's the one who came to me, and she's like, we need a box for cards. And I'm like, but it's a memorial service. Why do we need a box for cards? People
Yeah.
can come and say, that was the other thing. When you had the service, were you ready for the line of people?
No.
See,
No.
I didn't have a service because he did not want one.
Okay,
He wanted me to have a party.
okay,
So we had a party at our house.
okay.
I basically got all the booze that I had in the cabinets, threw it out on the table, and told people to bring a dish. And they could hang out as long as they wanted and to talk about him. And I set up a table with our wedding photos and stuff like that. And we had a good friend that put together a memorial video. So it was kind of like through his life.
Nice.
Different pictures.
Yeah.
So that was playing on a loop in the living room. And we all just sat around and told stories about Dave. And
That's
so
nice.
that was the best thing for me. And that was what he wanted. And it's the same thing I want, by the way.
Duly noted.
In case anybody
Just
is
a
asking.
party.
Just
I like the
party.
idea.
Not that I'm
party.
going anywhere anytime soon that I'm aware of.
Well, we had a celebration of life, and I thought, it was something like that, a party.
Yes.
People donated food and everything, and I get in there, and all of a sudden a line starts forming, and I'm like, what's this? And everybody started lining up. We had over 250
Oh,
people
my.
there.
Yeah.
I was so drained because
Oh, yeah.
being an
Yes.
energy worker,
Yes.
I had to shut down. So I'm like, give me a Boochcraft. Give me something to drink so I can shut the energy down so they can't pull from me.
Right.
And the boys ran for the kitchen. I'm like, how fair is this? They're like, each for his own on this one. We're out of here, Mom. And they hid in the kitchen at the function at the place.
Yeah.
Hid in the kitchen the whole time until after when we had military services come in, and then we had like 3 or 4 of his friends speak. A couple people gave eulogies. A couple people read poems. Different things like that.
Yeah.
But that's about the only thing that everybody had to go to their seats. No line existed then.
Yeah.
It's like, that was crazy.
The number of people, it was nice to see so many people that he had impacted through his life. And, we had, I was going to get the little, I thought, I'll just get the little chapel, but I'm like, I have 7 kids. So we'll kind of fill that up. And, with certain family members, we'll probably fill that up pretty fast. So we'll go ahead and, it'll be a lot of space, but that's okay. We'll just take the bigger chapel. Oh no, we filled it up, and then people were standing outside.
Oh, my word.
That was overwhelming for sure. To
Right?
see all that. And
It's heavy.
it was a lot. Yeah.
It would be. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got through that.
That's
And
actually,
just like that. Have you seen that film, by the way? And just like that, it's
not
Sex in
sure.
the City.
It's
The next thing.
Oh, no, don't
Spoiler
think so.
alert: Big dies of a heart attack in the first, episode.
Now, did
hardest
you
thing
not-
to watch.
After your spouses have passed, did you not notice a lot of programs have a dead significant other?
Yes. Oh, Grey's Anatomy. All
It didn't
Every
matter.
program you
everything.
watched, it's like, I watched Virgin River after, and I was like, she was there because her spouse died.
Right.
I was
yeah.
like, what? I didn't watch this program because of that. Hallmark shows. I mean,
Yep.
just
Movies.
movies, everything. It's like, is that
It's the big
theme?
transition. It's like the ultimate. It's the ultimate kick in your teeth to either shit or get off the pot
Which,
in your life. Because
hence, we're all here, so we must have shit and got off the pot.
we
did it all.
We owe shit and then we got off the pot.
Right?
It's kind of like, that was our story. That was our, that's how we got here. The Widows 3, the Widows of Eastwick, the blonde, the brunette, and the redhead.
Right?
And, we've had our span of time and, I've known you not for very long actually, but like it feels like we've known each other a million
Right?
years,
It's like we were meant to find each other.
100%. And you and I have known each other for 25 plus years.
Yes.
And now you two just met this week.
Right? I know.
And again, I feel like I've known you for a long time.
Right?
Yeah.
It's because we belong to that club.
Well, it's a club, but
And-
we're also, I think we're
and-
cut from a certain
And
cloth.
energetically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're definitely not the kind of people that have their husbands die on them suddenly and sit back and wait for life to happen to us.
No, didn't crawl into the closet, didn't
Right.
crawl into the bottle, and go poor me.
No, there was zero poor me here.
I had one moment of feeling that way after he had passed.
Yeah.
And
Of
he
course.
literally, I heard him in my ear, you are not allowed to do this.
Yeah.
Get off your butt and get
Oh.
a move on. And it was like,
His
give me
em-
a minute.
His employees came, the guys that worked for him, the week after he passed, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going to be in this. And all of a sudden they say, you can run the company. I was like, what? He just died and you want me to just pick up and run his company? Yeah, you can get the contractor's license and have it for a year and then get your own contractor's license and run the company, and we'll help. Oh.
Not
That's a lot.
something that would have
My
ever occurred to
husband
you.
just died, and I have all of that on my shoulders and in my brain, and now I have to think about running a mechanical service company and getting a contractor's license.
Yeah.
You talk about a distraction and
Yes.
raising two 13-year-old twin boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
I mean,
Well, I
7
went-
kids, and then you're there by yourself, which is completely the opposite.
Mine were grown and gone, so I
You're
had
banging
nobody.
into walls going,
So now what?
Well,
I
that's.
wasn't supposed to do this alone.
I caught
Yeah.
myself wandering through the house aimlessly, and I said, okay, I need to go back to work because this is ridiculous.
Right? You need something to do.
And even they were like, are you sure? You can take more time. I mean, they were wonderful, the people I worked for then. I was like, no, I need to.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah,
It
I ended
was.
up taking over. Well, my husband was running our business, and I was working in the hospital. And I woke up in the middle of the night going, oh my God, I should check his email. I mean, there might be clients, and I knew the business really well. So, I got on there and I started like looking around thinking, oh, I better tie up all these loose ends.
You
so
mean you
that-
got out of bed because your mind wouldn't shut down?
Of course, at 2 o'clock
Because,
in the morning.
we all slept really well.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. So in the office at 2 o'clock in the morning, going through all this stuff and thinking, okay, I got to tie up the loose ends. We got to make sure that the clients, their immediate stuff, because there was a lot of time sensitive stuff. And as I'm going through, and then of course I have to go through the billing, which I'm sorry, but he was crap at bookkeeping. Like, why did I not get involved with this sooner? Having to unravel all the bookkeeping and the billing and everything else. And I'm like,
I was very fortunate to be that
I-
part of that business already.
yeah, I was working as a nurse. I was taking care of a 6-year-old.
busy.
I was busy. But I'm like, then I started going through the billing and looking at invoices and going, I could do this. Yeah, I could probably do this on the side.
On the side.
On the side, you know, while I was working as a nurse and taking care of a 6-year-old. And so I kept the company going. I've had it, it's been going for 25 years. You know, from when we started it, and of course 13 years since he's died, I've been doing that. But that was not on my bingo card. It was, you know, none of it was on my bingo card. But, you know, here we are, like years later, and we've all had this conversation, but I don't think a lot of people think about this. That when you lose somebody, when you lose your spouse, whether
Right.
it be like for us, all three of us, it was
Spouse.
Pretty
sudden.
sudden.
It was fairly sudden. I mean, it was, you know, you had
It
a couple
wasn't
of days.
long drawn out.
It wasn't a cancer that you start planning for. Not saying that is any easier.
No.
It is not. I
I'm
mean,
It's
not-
different.
It's different.
It's
but
different.
I'm not sure, you know, I think about that same thing. I'm like, did I get off easy because I didn't have to watch him die over years? Or did it just...
you got
rip
off
the-
different.
I got off different.
I can
Yeah.
say that, but I watched my dad suffered for 18 months after his stroke.
And that was hard.
That was very hard. And Dave was sudden and passed after 3 days. There is a huge, I mean, not only because he was my dad and my husband
There's
difference,
both
but
significant male roles in your
very
life.
much. And
Yeah.
the long-term suffering is completely different, and in some ways,
little more
maybe
painful.
harder, a little more painful. And then the sudden, I mean,
Is painful in a
is
different way.
painful in
Yeah.
a different way. So there's no comparison.
No.
Yeah.
So that's everybody wants to compare. Well,
It's
it's like
death.
comparing divorce to.
I was just going to say divorce and being a widow.
Oh,
Yeah.
No,
that
I
is
mean,
no,
I
not
mean,
the same
I've had
at all.
both. I've been
too.
divorced and I've been a widow. And there's a lot of pain with both of them.
Yes, but different.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't compare the two.
And
Well,
it's-
no,
you
because
always
with
wish it was
divorce-
opposite though. When you divorce, why couldn't he die?
Right.
He was kind of an asshole. I mean, he was a dick. No,
Yeah,
he
you're-
was. And
you're
he's
angry.
the
and he's
kinda
still
out of
You're
alive.
angry when when you're divorced. When they
Yes.
die, you're still
You're angry
in
too.
You're angry, but
Yeah.
you're still in love with them.
Yes.
Right.
You
Yeah.
didn't break up with them.
Right.
You didn't fall out of love with them.
Right.
You're still in love with them.
Yeah.
You're still in love with them to this day. They still have a piece of your
Absolutely.
heart
Always will.
Forever.
forever.
Yep.
That brings up another question.
Do tell.
So at some point,
Oh dear.
you have to live your life, right?
Right.
And we're beautiful,
Vibrant.
vibrant women.
Yes.
So then dating. But you know, the next step is dating, right? And I put in my notes here because I like to write my notes here. This is the WTF part. Because man, that's when you're like, dude, what? Why'd you leave me at this age? Like, do you know what it's like out there? I mean, there's many fish in the sea, but have you seen those deep sea fish with those gnarly teeth and those weird things growing out of their heads? I'm like, those are the fish you left me with. You suck.
Yes.
Right?
And that's
Although
exactly
you
what
found,
I feel.
You found a wonderful guy.
I'll say mine's different, but go ahead.
No, I ain't got nothing to say. I'm still looking out there, and they're still.
They're like wallowing in the mud. I go, why are we getting all the mudfish? What is up with the mudfish?
I had a few of those in between this. When it was first, I was just kind of dipping my toe in the dating pool, which I didn't really want to do, but I kind of felt like I needed to do.
How did you do it? Was it a dating app? Or
I
was it
started
actually-
with the dating apps and talking to people, and
which is
you
a
know,
hard thing all by itself.
Yes, that was a big step for me. And then I went to a friend's birthday party, and when I walked in, there was a guy there who I had known for over 10 years as
Always
a
a
friend
good thing.
and a coworker.
Oh,
Nice.
I like where this is going. A
Me too.
friend,
A
that you've known a long time.
Long time.
Oh, yeah.
Always got along
Wink,
great.
wink.
There was never any, he's, va va boom, because I was married. He was married. That was never on the table.
You kept your eyes straight
or
ahead.
a thought.
Right.
I didn't even know that he knew this mutual friend.
Oh,
So it was quite a shock. I mean, when I first walked in the room, I'm like, am I in the right room? is this?
What's he doing
Yeah,
here?
why are you here? And we sat next to each other. Next thing I know, we're leaning into each other while we're talking. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I was getting different feelings all of a sudden.
You're like, whoa, what are these feelings?
Feelings. Oh
I
no.
was like, in my mind, freaking out. Outwardly, I did not show that.
Right, because you've got to be like subdued and just keep a hold of yourself. But I mean, the feelings.
The feelings were
Having
there. It's like, where
feelings.
did
Wait.
this come from?
Was this guy
This is Guy.
your twin flame?
Speaking of, the guy in the room was Guy. That's
Yeah.
his name.
That guy.
And it was like, all of a sudden, we saw each other completely different. And here's the funny thing that really, I was kind of still pulled back because I was like, I'm not sure I want to be doing this yet.
It's
it was
scary.
it was very soon after, too.
Oh.
It was not like
yeah,
a
I
year
remember
later.
that.
It was like 6 months later. It was not,
It doesn't matter the time.
it
Yeah.
didn't,
It really doesn't.
it doesn't, but people
Because-
think it does.
Well, when you're ready, you're ready.
Yes.
And sometimes when you're
Well, I
ready,
didn't think I was.
when you're ready, you're not even ready.
Right.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Absolutely, it does to me.
Because you were presented with something right in front of you, and you're going like, whoa.
I think, to me, I believe that Dave and my dad got together up there or wherever and said, watch this. You know, here he is.
That's okay with me. Hey, did you hear that?
Yeah, I could hear them like laughing up there. Guy had, for one of our, I think it was probably our second date, had invited me to his place in my own room and all, all that was
Did he
very
live
well established.
far?
He lived about 40 minutes away
Oh.
in the mountains, in Pollock Pines, which is in Northern California.
Good thing you knew him.
Yes. Well, that's what, when he was driving me out there, I was like, if I didn't know you, I'd be a little scared right now.
That's what I'm
Driving me into the woods.
Like
Way
if you
far
told
away
any of
from
your friends. So I met this guy at a party, and then
Right.
he drove me to his house up in the mountains, about 45 minutes, middle of nowhere. But no, it'll be fine.
Right, that's what I'm
problem
thinking. I'm
here.
thinking red flags. But thank God you knew him.
But
Yeah.
so I was packing for the weekend before we went, because he's, come stay for the weekend. We'll, just a couple nights. So I got to a little bag and threw my stuff in there, and I walk out, and he goes, that's it? Is that one bag? And I go, yeah. He goes, I love you. And I went,
Whoa.
what? And he was like, oh, I did not say that.
Oh, wow.
And it was like,
He was like, I love you because of these
he tried to
things.
backpedal on it, but that was of course, always the joke later is, you told me you love me the second date in, dude. But
That's funny.
it really told me that this is where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
And we've
And
been
how long have you
together
guys been together?
10 years now.
10 years, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Still with the mudfish.
Yeah.
Not there yet. 13 years. I mean, I was raising a child, young child,
That's different.
and I think I had my own trauma from a divorce and then losing a husband. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Just
It's
I
your
don't know
path
that I
that's
was ready.
different.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready now.
Right?
Ready? No.
I don't know.
Now.
I was high school sweetheart. So, I mean, dating 30, I waited, I played a little on the dating apps, just learning how to use my voice.
Right.
Right.
And I've gotten a lot better. I mean, whoa, big transformation here.
Yeah.
But it was probably 37 years before, from the time we got together, and he died at 34 years together, 2 weeks after our 30th wedding anniversary. And then I think it was like 3 years later, I did date somebody, but it was somebody that I knew in a circle. Didn't work out, but we're still friends. But having feelings for somebody else after 37 years, because I was 17 and having feelings as an adult
Yes.
Yeah.
in this day and
It's
age,
so different.
Yeah.
it's like, how do we do this?
Yeah.
So that's the hard thing. And so, yes, I'm still in the mudfish too.
Well, I'm
But I'm
hoping-
ready.
I'm hoping that, I'm leveling up. I do scuba dive, so I'm trying to get to clear
Getting
waters. I'm trying to get to clear waters and, discover all the pretty tropicals and the fancy fish. So I'm crossing my fingers. There's, there may or may not be a little something on my radar right now. So
We'll cross our fingers
we're
for
going
you.
to cross our
Yes.
fingers and all the things to make sure that, not make sure, but to hope for these
Put it
things.
out there
To move
firmly
towards.
in the
Yeah.
universe.
So the other thing, this is on the witch's side, manifesting. So we've talked about who we were in our relationships and our marriages. I mean, you had a long-term marriage. You were with Dave for
16 years.
16 years. I was only with Ron for 12 and a half years, unfortunately. Well, no, we knew each other longer, but we were only together for 12 and a half years.
That's a
But-
long time.
It's still a long time. I mean, we had a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff in that amount of time. But who I am today, 13 years later, versus who I was when I was married to him.
We've talked about this.
Yeah. And, I say to people, and it's, sometimes people, I don't think people always understand, but I cannot imagine him existing in my life today.
Correct.
I love him. I
Yes.
miss him. I absolutely treasure my time with him that I had with him, but I can't imagine him fitting into the space that I've created today. I am,
You are where you are because you were married to him
Yeah.
and he passed away.
and he passed away, right?
Right.
I was married to him and he passed away, and that absolutely,
Catapulted you
catapulted
forward.
me into this new space. It's like, that those balls that clink together, when they hit, it changes your trajectory.
Correct.
And, I got to choose through my actions, through my will, through manifesting, creating big, scary dreams and
Right.
going after things that I never thought were possible. And
And that maybe even you weren't even thinking that it was possible for you to accomplish those things. or
Not
be
even
able to
possible, no.
Do those things.
it was not even on my radar when I was married to him. My life was going in a certain path.
And that's who you were.
And that's who I was. And it was like this kicked me into a completely different path.
Right.
And I love my life.
Yeah.
I
Right?
do. I love my life. I love who I am today. I am the healthiest I've ever been. I'm active. I'm doing things that are like, you talk about your bucket list. I'm doing all those things. And, becoming a widow is not always a sad tale of somebody's, in dark clothes for the rest of their life with a veil over their head. So,
Not in the olden days.
no. And
It's not the end of your story.
it's
No.
into,
It's the
it's into,
end of the part of your story.
right.
But it's not the end of
How
your
does
story.
that look for you guys? Like, what do you guys think about? I mean, like, not that your story is exactly the same. Like, what do you think
I
of
think
that?
that's
Like,
why they
who
call
do-
it chapter 2 or chapter 3 or
Right.
however it may be.
Next.
But chapter 2,
the next. Yeah.
the next journey. I agree with you. I am a completely different person, and we've talked about this, that there's no way that he would fit in my life now. Not that I don't love him and I miss him. However, he would not fit.
Yeah.
I mean, I have catapulted forward. I mean, I had no idea that I was going to run a business, his business. I mean, get involved with government's contracting stuff and certified for woman-owned business in the contracting world and all of that stuff.
Being an
It's like,
all-around badass.
yeah, check, check, check. Done. I'm done doing it.
Yeah.
Sold the house, sold the business. Now I'm back to being me, even better.
Yeah. And doing your energy work and the MFR and
Yeah.
all the things that make you happy.
And traveling.
And traveling.
And
Yes.
traveling.
Yes.
Checking those bucket lists off, but also filling the love bucket with the people around me.
Yeah.
Those are big things. My people and seeing things, doing things, new things, adventures.
Yes.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And meeting new people.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that's what fills my bucket. Love bucket and checking off the bucket list.
And you've definitely, I mean, you've done like crazy.
I've gone all over.
Do tell.
Well, one of the first, and I told you this before, that one of the first things, I had a neighbor ask me, what are you going to do now? Are you going to stay in the neighborhood? Are you going to stay in the house?
How
And,
soon after did they ask you?
it was a few months left after. He was just curious. We had him and his wife over several times, and you know, so, and I looked at him and said, first I got to figure out who I am without him.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yep.
And he didn't know how to take that. It's like, I'm not the same person. I can't be the same person.
No, you had
That
a partner.
person is gone. It
Yeah.
died with him.
Yep.
And so it was discovering, okay, what do I want? What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And at the time, I was a safety director in construction.
A little crossover there.
I did that for 35 plus years. And I think, well, at that time, no, I worked in waste management because I had left for a while and then had to go back to work.
We had some contracts with waste management.
So which they were absolutely fantastic to me.
Right.
But it was like, I was done doing the safety. It was not that it's not important by any stretch, very important, but I felt I had done all I had set out to do. And I didn't know what I wanted to do next. And then Guy came in, and we immediately talked about retiring. And where do we want to go? Because we didn't want to be in California anymore.
Good decision.
Lucky.
That was 8 years ago. And so we just started throwing stuff out there. And so he got to the point where he retired. And so then I retired, and which I was fortunate enough to be able to do at a young age.
Yeah.
And we decided, after much research, et cetera, to move to South Dakota. And again, out in a rural area, and I live in a gorgeous canyon, so I have beautiful views. I have 32 acres, so
Whoa.
I have my trees I can go to sit among. And now I get to play, as I put it.
Yeah.
I do acting and melodramas. I've done some commercials. I've done some professional
Nice.
modeling for a Western artist shoot, which for me is all just fun.
Yeah.
I directed plays. I ran a community theater for a while.
Oh, fun.
I directed high school plays for a while. I just quit doing that. And I do art.
Yeah.
And I just sell my stuff at craft fairs, and I have fun with it. And
That must make your heart so
and then
happy.
I come travel and see my friends. And it's just a joy. So it's like, if I don't want to do something, I don't have to now.
Thank God
And
for that guy.
How different is that? Absolutely.
You know, it's funny how this podcast started. It sounded so sad. You know, we're talking about the sadness of losing someone that you love, somebody that you're very connected to, and you know, just all the stuff that comes up after that. And
It's a lot of stuff.
but you know, I will say for me, I like to surround myself with people who are doers, that are manifestors, that are kicking the shit out of their plan B. And I am so grateful to have both of you as my dear friends. And
Yes.
coming onto this podcast, which is, you know, it's kind of different, right? It's a little bit
Right.
different
Yes.
to sit here and pour your life out to people that you don't know. But what I really hope is that when people listen to this, they hear that you can have some shit happen. You can have the oh shit in your life.
And make it through it.
And you can make it through. You can, you know, you have people around you that are going to love you, that are going to support you, that are going to care for you. They're going to have the wacky shit that happens, and it's okay
Right.
to laugh. And you know, it's okay to use humor during some of these darker times. But ultimately, the thing I love is that I've got some badass friends that are manifesting amazing things in their life. And thank you guys for coming and sharing that. And
You brought us to you because you manifested it.
I did manifest it. I manifested the shit out of this.
That's right.
And I'm hoping that other people that see this are inspired, even when you think that your life has been kicked into a corner or kicked into an area that you didn't expect. But be inspired the fact that, sit down and think about what your big, scary dreams are. And the bigger the dreams, the scarier the dreams, that means you're really making shit happen. And if it doesn't scare the shit out of you, you're not dreaming big enough.
I'll agree with that one.
Amen.
So thank you for watching the podcast, and put your comments below and let me know what you loved about it. And if you have anything else any other subjects or any other topics that you want to talk about, throw it into the comments, and maybe I'll find another guest to talk about that as well.
There you
So,
go. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you
thank you.
for having your lips of steel join mine. You badass witches.
Right back at you.
All right.